Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making a wonderfully simple and gentle aloe, rosemary, and spruce foaming hand wash. So this project was inspired by a conversation I had with Renee at one of my recent Humblebee and Me meetups, and we were talking about foaming hand washes. She really likes them because it's harder for her kids to make a mess with them, and her kids really like them because, you know, when you pump them out, you just get this like gorgeous cloud of fluffy bubbles. And so that conversation is what inspired this hand wash, and it's wonderfully simple. We're using just 2 surfactants, and they're 2 gentle surfactants, and they're both liquid, so we don't have to heat anything to melt anything together. And then we have some humectant, we've got our glycerine, of course we have a preservative, an essential oil blend, and some aloe vera juice to make the hand wash sort of extra gentle. It's really easy. You will need a proper foamer bottle for this project. You can see the viscosity of this hand wash is really low, and so we need one of these bottles that, you know, turns it into that lovely cloud of foam when you pump it out. And just as a gentle reminder, don't reuse these. They're impossible to clean. They have so many little nooks and crannies that you'll never get it properly clean, and then the next batch of hand wash that you sent through that foamer would be going through basically a network of disgusting microbial moldy goodness before it got to your hands, which is gross. So yeah, kind of a bummer, but yeah, you do need to recycle these after a single use. If you want to learn more about the ingredients we're using, if you want to know where to buy them, how to scale the recipe, you want to know about substitutions, please go down to the description box and click through to this recipe on my blog, or just visit humblebeeandme.com and search for the name of the recipe. And there I've written out, you know, an entire blog on the structure of the recipe, and then the entire recipe is written out, and then there's a big list of substitutions as a bulleted list at the very end. So hopefully that'll answer any questions you might have instantaneously. But yeah, let's go make some bubbles. We're going to measure out this recipe in 2 phases. So this is the larger phase, and so we're using a scale that's accurate to 0.1 of a gram, but then also goes up to 2 kilos. The second phase uses smaller measurements, so we'll be using a more precise scale that has a lower top weight. So that's why we can't measure everything on that one scale, because this entire recipe would overshoot the maximum weight of that scale. We're going to start with 10 grams of Caprylyl and Capryl glucoside surfactant. Up next is 15 grams of Cocamidopropyl Betaine or Amphasol CG, 40 grams of aloe vera juice, and I reconstituted this aloe vera juice from the 200 times concentrate, so that's 0.5% of the 200 times concentrate, 0.5% of liquid germall plus, and then 99% distilled water. So we need 40 grams of this. 5 grams of vegetable glycerin, and if you haven't already changed out the cap on your bottle of vegetable glycerin to one of these, I really recommend it. It makes it much easier when you get towards the end of your measurement to just squeeze out 1 drop at a time. As you can see there, it's amazing. And then to top it off, we need 29 grams of distilled water. And that is all the ingredients for our larger phase, so just going to give this a nice mixing. So this here is a Badger Airbrush Co. little mini mixer. Lotion Pro sells these, but you could also just go look for this precise product, especially if you're not in the States. So keep the blending portion pretty close to the bottom. You don't want to be smashing it up against the bottom of your container, but keep it close to the bottom so that we don't create a ton of lather. And once that's thoroughly incorporated, we're ready to measure out our small portion and wrap this up. So the small amounts for this project are our essential oil blend and our preservative, which is liquid germall plus. And so we'll be measuring them into this smaller beaker using this scale that's accurate to 0.01 grams. So for rosemary essential oil, we're going to need 0.2 grams, which is roughly 6 drops. We have black spruce essential oil here, and for that we'll also need 0.2 grams, which for this one is also about 6 drops. And then for palmarosa oil, we want 0.1%, which is about 4 drops, so that's 0.1 grams. And then for our preservative, our liquid germall plus, we need 0.5 gram of that. And again, switching to one of these little flip top ones, caps, makes it so much easier to measure this out accurately. Now that our small portion is done, we are done with this little scale here. and we can grab our big portion again. And what we're going to do is pour some big portion into little portion, blend little portion into part of big portion, and then pop it back in here. And that's about that. So we're ready to put this in our container. So here I have a foamer bottle. The liquid that's already in here is the version of this hand wash that I made so I could photograph it for the blog, and I just made this like half an hour ago. So it's perfectly fine to just add more of it to itself. Can pop our lid on here. I don't really like these particular foamer bottles. I like ones that have more, that look more like a traditional pump bottle, because I find that this one you sort of have to hold it up to use it, and it's kind of a pain when you're washing your hands. But I bought a lot of them, so I need to use them up. But I would recommend checking out a different configuration of them that's not like bear spray. I know both Yellowbee and Windy Point have brought in some much more sort of functional foamer bottles recently. But let's give this a pump. Get that primed there. There we go. Yeah. Look at them bubbles, man. Oh, this is such a lovely feeling lather. It's really, really silky. It's sort of softly fragrant and just, oh my goodness, it's just like, it's so beautiful. Rinses away really, really nicely. The pH is about 5.5, which is perfect for hand washes. And yeah, this is great. So I'm not sure how much my camera is going to like it, since I'm definitely going to have to touch my camera to turn it off with all this on my hands. And the doorknob. Maybe this wasn't the wisest decision. But anyhow, you can see that it is a really, really lovely, lathery, beautiful hand wash. Yes. There you go. You just made a gorgeous aloe, rosemary, and spruce foaming hand wash. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Do remember to check the description box below for links to this recipe on my blog, where you'll find all the instructions written out, links to all of the ingredients, and sort of more thorough explanations on things. It's definitely worth a read. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.